Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Muriel Bowser. I am the mayor of Washington, D.C. We're coming to give a regular briefing on the blizzard that is descending on the District of Columbia. As predicted, it started snowing, and it started snowing about 1 p.m. in Washington, D.C., and the snow has been accumulating for the past several hours. Fortunately, we're still seeing a lot of people on the road and driving, and we're reminding everybody that unless you're a first responder, you don't need to be on our roads. So we're urging all residents and visitors to get off of the roads, find a safe place, and stay there. We continue to think that the forecast will hold true, that this is a 36-hour storm with expected dangerous winds. And we expect that unless everybody does and acts as they should, it could be a dangerous situation. We expect 2 feet at least of snow in Washington, and the snow is coming down wet and heavy. Which means that we could see trees and power lines down and a loss of power. We are using every measure of precaution. This morning, as I reported to you earlier, we stood up our Emergency Operations Center here at our Homeland Security and Emergency Management Center, and we fully deployed the district's snow team. I declared a state of emergency to allow us to secure whatever resources we need to keep our city and residents safe. I have also called on the National Guard to support our efforts by transporting essential and emergency personnel in the district. Men and women of the D.C. Guard have reported to duty and will be dispatched as needed. This morning, our snow emergency went into effect at 9:30 a.m., and it is in effect in the District of Columbia until noticed otherwise. It means you cannot park in a snow emergency route. If you are parked in a snow emergency route, you will be ticketed and towed. It is critical that we keep our main routes open. And as I said, and I will repeat again, we want our residents to stay in place during the duration of the storm. We don't want anybody driving during a blizzard. It's dangerous to do so, and it also can prevent our first responders and our road crews from making the road safe when this storm passes. I'm going to turn to Director GELDART now, who will talk more specifically about operations, and he will also direct your questions.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My name is Chris Geller, and I'm the Director of DC's Homeland Security and Emergency Management Agency. To give an update of where we are right now, as everybody knows and the Mayor just covered, the snow has started in the district. We are looking at what the storm has done and continues to do on its track to here to keep up to date and ensure that we have the appropriate resources moving in the right direction. We have been, over the last several days, reaching out to jurisdictions and states to ask for assistance with all sorts of manner of things, to include snow removal equipment as well as support for our human service areas. Right now we're watching the storm like you are to see what we're going to get and where we're going to end up with this. We want to reiterate again to folks, just as the Mayor just has, this is a dangerous storm. There are way too many people out on the roads now, and we need to make sure folks are getting where they need to be. We ask folks to be off the road and where they're going to be for the storm at 3 o'clock. We're past that. If you're not where you need to be, please get there. It's just going to get worse, and it's going to get worse fast. The snow is going to come in. You can see the initial bands that we had. We already have a lot of accumulating snow, and we're starting to get accumulating snow on the roads. So again, this is a dangerous storm. We're asking folks to make sure you are where you need to be now. And that's all I have. We'll take questions.
So how would you rate both the government's response and the public's response? It sounds like the mayor's a little frustrated that people are still out on the roads right now. How would you rate just both? Just how you guys are keeping up with it and how the public is adhering to your warnings?
I think as far as the government's perspective, we had preparations ongoing up till now. It looks as where we stand today, the preparations we put in place are holding. They're what we need to do. We're going to continue to watch the storm and continue to ensure that we're tracking all things we need to. We're going to be plowing continuously throughout the event to make sure that we can get our emergency crews where they need to get to and make sure that we're getting the roads, the snow off the roads as we can. And I think that's in place where we need it to be. As far as the response from the public, we're encouraging and urging again everybody to get off the roads and to be where they need to be. As I said on the outset, this is a dangerous storm and it's coming fast. And if folks haven't realized it now, you all I'm sure realized that coming here, this is deteriorating quickly. We need folks to get to where they're going to be.
Did you guys learn anything from Wednesday night's drama during rush hour that's affecting how you're handling tonight and again sort of reinforcing getting people off the roads?
Sure, and I think the mayor addressed this earlier today. You're talking about two totally different events. You're talking about what was supposed to be a ½ inch of snow that became almost 2 inches of snow, the pre-treating that we needed to do for that, and the time frames we needed to do it were not in place how we needed to. This is a different event. We treated 100% of our roads before this storm came in. We've done that. We're now at the point of where that pre-treating is not going to be able to sustain with the amount of snow and the time lengths that the snow is coming in. We knew that, which is why we're going to plowing now. We're really talking about two different types of storms, so I don't think you can compare the response that we had earlier in the week to what we're doing for this one.
Yes, sir. You were complaining about groups having events and things like that this morning. I heard you talking about that. Is your advice being heeded?
I believe that the recommendations that we gave to folks, the Right for Life March happened, and they were able to hold their event well. We have many cancellations in events that folks had scheduled for tonight and tomorrow. So I think that folks are really understanding that this is a severe storm and very dangerous, and I think that we've gotten where we need to with that.
And I'm hearing something about streetcars practicing up and down H Street during this. Is that correct, Mayor? Or are they continuing their practicing runs up in the blizzard?
Well, I think Leif Dormshow, who's the director of DDOT, why don't we have Leif give us a public transportation update, including streetcar. Leif?
The simulated service for streetcar has been suspended, so the streetcars were operating today, but as the hazardous conditions moved into the area, they suspended service just like the bus service did at 5 o'clock. So when you simulate service, you actually simulate the operational plan that you would have in place if you had passengers. So it was a good.
So they stopped at 5 o'clock.
They stopped at 5 o'clock.
This might be a question for Chiefs Lanier and Dean, but at what point does the snow become a problem for other emergency response? Sort of how, up to what point is it something you guys can handle, and when does it become really difficult?
Obviously, the challenges are different for law enforcement than fire, but through the last Snowmageddon, which was 2 foot of snow, we found that we were able to, through most of the storm, get to every call for service in our SUVs and the vehicles that we have. We did move to some Humvees in some of the tougher areas of the city near the end of the storm, and in some cases, officers had to get out and walk the last block or so to get to some calls, but we made it to every single call for service.
Chief, I guess crime does go down when we have these events, right?
It typically does, yes. It gets a little bit more difficult to get around.
So the fire trucks are a little bit heavier and moving around and getting through the neighborhoods. But again, DPW is doing a great job out there for us. It allows us to get around. For the more narrow streets, we have some ATVs, and we also have access to the Humvees to be able to move around.
Councilmember, could you give us an update on Ward 8, how your constituents are doing?
Councilmember, I should note that we've been joined by a member of the Council of the District of Columbia who represents Ward 8, one of the district's 8 wards, and this center is located in Ward 8. So, Councilmember May.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I've been out. There's still people out on the streets, which we are encouraging them to get back inside. Coming here, I've been riding around the ward, and so you can definitely tell that the streets have been treated, and the travel is a little bit safer, but again, not safe enough for people to be out. So my team and a team of volunteers are actually calling around to our seniors and our disabled residents, checking in on them to make sure that if they have any needs that we're able to respond.
I should mention in Councilmember May's ward, there's a grocery store that had, I think, the most supplies of any grocery store in the District of Columbia, and a very helpful staff. Are there any other questions? Yes, Mark and Chris.
Can somebody talk about, we talked earlier, Director, about the possibility that you might have to actually dump snow at Lot 7 at RFK. And can you talk about the efforts to make sure that problems with the pollutants, the runoff and whatnot doesn't get into the Anacostia? It was a minor problem during Snowmageddon when there was snow there. And I believe you were telling me earlier that you've taken some steps.
Sure. Working through our Department of Environment with our DDOT and DPW crews, making sure that whatever we're going to do for our snow removal when we do dump it, that we're doing so in accordance with all the regulations from EPA, and that we're not violating anything as we do that. So we've done extensive things we need to do with that. As a matter of fact, I just got off the phone with the Department of Environment Director before we came down here for one last measure that we need to do at Lot 7, and we'll be good to go.
Can you tell us what those measures are?
Sure. We put Jersey barriers down between the lot and the river. And we'll put a silt fence along that as well to make sure that we don't have any runoff that goes in there.
The blue Jersey walls that I see down there now, those are new. You just put those up?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Also, there was talk about the homeless, and I noticed that the homeless around, say, 7th and Constitution, they're still there on those grates. Is there anything you're going to do or not do, or what's the policy?
Sure. We have had an extreme cold weather emergency in effect. As we know, we've had cold weather this entire week. That has been in effect, and what we did, even though it warmed up beyond what our criteria is for that yesterday and going into today, we maintained that cold weather emergency, which does put us out there on the streets and give the opportunity for folks to come in and more shelter space for folks to come in. We do a constant engagement with the folks out on the street. We have several measures that we can take. The first and foremost, and the one that we go with, is we try to encourage them to come in and make a place that's close to where they're used to being so that they can come in, they feel comfortable in doing that. We're continuing to do that. Another call that I fielded right before we came down here was to ensure that we can continue to get the crews out there to have that engagement with the folks to get them in throughout the storm.
But if they want to stay there, they can stay there.
There's several things that we can do with that, but we cannot, it's very difficult, and it's a situation that we handle very delicately with them. And when we need to get forceful or more enforcement within that, we do it. But we try not, that's our last effort in there.
All right. I think this last one, if anyone has any. Thanks, everyone.
Let me just say that we plan to have a regular briefing throughout the event at 10 a.m. and at 5 p.m. We will evaluate what the weather is, what the conditions are in the morning, to see whether we will be able to do that in person or by a press conference call. And if it is in person, we will also evaluate the conditions to see what the location will be. Our first choice will be to meet here at 10 a.m. And if not, we will get the word out of the location as early as possible. Thank you, everybody.
So Mayor, we can assume you're not planning to have another event tonight, is that correct?
That's correct.